I didn't really see signs of life from LGD, unfortunately. And Vici, that's all I saw. So we'll see what happens here in this next draft. But this could be our last game, which is crazy to think. This is sort of what happens. This is why seeding is important. This is why finishing in the regular season is so important to your placing. We'll see what happens, though, because LGD definitely fight in them. Rise, Poppy, Kalista band, Siva, Echo, and Azir band on the Vici side.
So the thing is LG right now have the Alistar hover, but the thing is why the priority pick Braum came down from Vici is because Kindred, Nidalee, and Graves were all open, so they didn't need to priority pick jungle, and the other, like the Alistar was banned. So they knew that Braum was kind of the last standing big, strong support left. So if they take this Alistar, Caveman's just going to pick up the Braum anyway. So I don't actually think that this is the same, like it's not as intelligent for this first priority pick if it goes to support as Vici was last game on blue side.
Well, see what happens in the rest of this draft, because they can change this, of course. Does seem like they're consulting PYL about the pick, though. You can see him there on your screen. His Alistar is very good, and he's going to be the first pick here. So high priority on the champion. It's almost like we've gone back to the start of this season.
Okay, so I knew that this was going to be an insta-lock from the Lucian, and the reason why is Kalista's banned. Again, Vici have made it very clear that they need to supplement their bottom lane's inability to 2v2 by giving them really strong laning champions. So Kalista's banned. Endless plays about 2 champions. He plays Kalista and he plays Lucian. So the Lucian has to come into a priority.
And it does. Takes it away from Imp as well, which is nice. They early picked it for him. As you can see, Lulu also going to be taken away. EasyHoon's Lulu really just powered up the mid-game of that comp so much. So good to see them with their strong picks. We'll see what LGD answer with, though. You always wonder what's going to happen to LGD when they're down like this. Because they do crazy stuff with normal champions.
I feel like they're just going to get their comfort champions, and they're just going to try to play LGD-style League of Legends, where it's just give me the isolated 1v1, and we'll take it to them.
Fast and loose.
Yep.
Well, we'll see what happens with these picks at least, because hovering some pretty interesting ones back and forth. 20 seconds, though, to try and lock things down. As you can see, Imp on your screen. Not looking too happy with itself right now. Sort of staring blankly ahead. Maokai and Ezreal, though, will be the picks here. So a potential flex on the Ezreal, but we don't see too much of that man around. I guess with Kalista and Lucian already taken away or banned, AD carry pools maybe not as big as Imp would like.
Yeah, Imp, of course, is a phenomenal Ezreal player, but you are correct that it can be flexed. Wayless did play that very recently, so I don't know how mid Ezreal is doing in the rest of the global regions, but it's still very much alive in the LPL.
That's Wayless. He'll do just about whatever he wants. As I believe that his Graves already locked in there. Dandy going to take it one more time with both Kindred and Nidalee open. He takes the Graves, and Caveman actually drops the second rotation, gets himself the Braum.
Probably just likes the hard carry potential on it. Obviously, Graves has a very clear item build path. That's I'm the carry now. Endless eye contact. All the resources belong to me.
Yep. And when they play well together, like we saw in that last game, you can really see the damage they can do. Dandy had a wonderful Graves game. We'll see if he can replicate that here. But for the LGD team and fans, they're going to want to make sure Dandy gets a little bit more kept under control, because that was a very swift and impressive performance from Dandy.
It's so perfect for Vici to face LGD. You know that LGD are going to go aggressive. You know that they're going to burn the flash for the first blood, and it just left them so exposed. Their Achilles tendon, and just snip.
Yep.
Dandy.
And then from then, just felt like business as usual, as Kindred maybe going to get the lock-in once more. Also, Wayless considering Kassadin going to go back to his hard carry roots. Imp has got the champion selected for him, and it is going to be the lock-ins. We expected him to go a little bit further back to comfort. This is pretty comfy.
This is definitely very comfortable. The scary thing about this composition is if you fall behind, you stay behind. Yes, Kassadin can scale into late game, but what I mean by this is they don't have control over their structures. And so if at any point during the mid game they're suffering, all of their towers are open for sieging, especially with the double AD carry comp like Graves Lucian. Lucian's already going to burn through the towers with his double tap passive. We see how confident they are to contest Rift Herald and to utilize it into sieging inner turrets. And Kassadin doesn't have the wave clear. Ezreal doesn't have the wave clear.
Yep, and we've seen this from Assassin sort of coming out of the meta for that reason. Looks like maybe a tank, though, for the top side, as Vici do need a pick. 15 seconds to lock in maybe Nautilus. They already know it's a Maokai, so kind of free to do whatever he wants to do here is long, but I imagine he'll stick to the script and just take something really straightforward.
Yeah, I like this. They need their hard engage. Again, if you get ahead, if LGD fall behind on the composition, you need to have the hard engage that can punish that and say you're fighting us right here and right now. Again, this is patch 6.6, so Lulu, Nautilus, Alistar have all been kind of love tapped.
Yep. Just, you know.
I believe Nautilus was actually hit on 6.5.
Yep. Just a light wrist slap. Nothing too crazy, but the power has come down a bit. LGD, though, you kind of said it already. Feels like their comp is, you know, going to only do one thing. Get the lanes, get ahead. But like you said, there's no real recovery option. So the worry is that if they start losing, this comp crashes and burns like real fast.
This game is going to go so polarizing.
Yep.
Either LGD are going to unlock PYL and they're going to make a crazy level 2, level 3 play and just snowball the control, start tower diving, unlocking Wayless, or they're going to sit and they're going to lose their towers because they have 0 wave clear and Vici are just going to run over them for a 3-0 sweep.
Well, we'll see if Dandy and Amy can have that impact because Dandy had a real impressive game 1. It's the same jungle matchup as well as you see the champions on your screen for this third game. Second game overall of the day, but third technical game. Hopefully that doesn't get too confusing for you guys at home. LGD, it's always a wonder, but again, when desperate times call for desperate measures, they're usually here to deliver. Be curious to see if they can give us at least one more game, but Vici looks on fire.
Yeah, very nervous as the coaches, again, good friends, shaking hands.
Yep, Hut and I'm going to shake hands. Vici, they're prepped. Can they get the win? We'll find out as we get onto the Rift. And here we are for our third game of the series and our second game of the overall broadcast. Once again, Vici are 2-0 up after getting in a...
It's a slanted gauntlet.
Yeah.
That is the best way. So your graphic is not wrong. It's not wrong on the screen.
You didn't miss a game.
You didn't miss a game. Vici and I believe Snake have 1 point up against Invictus Gaming and LGD respectively because they were higher seeds.
So up a game here, and Vici now on match point have 3 chances to try and take this out as we have a look at these Keystone Masteries.
So Warlord's Bloodlust being picked up for Ezreal on the Imp, I actually really like. We've talked about Warlord's Bloodlust in length, and effectively what it does is it supplements AD carries who won't take lifesteal until their 4th or 5th item slot, just by having that lifesteal kind of built in on the Mastery.
So it makes your builds quite a bit more efficient. Means you don't have to worry too much about dying. There's a couple saplings set up there in LGD's jungle. Myron's put those down. And PWL and Imp hanging out there at the Krug camp. Find out where Endless and Caveman are. They are on the bottom side, so once again, going to find themselves with standard lanes.
Which, again, should mean that LGD need to recognize that there is a target on their back. Dandy is starting the top side of the jungle. That's expected from Graves' red side. But that does mean that when he has double buff, that he will be in prime position to walk down into the Endless Caveman lane and look for the gank. That's been Vici's MO. That's been their blueprint. Let's see if LGD have learned from their mistakes and have some sort of answer. Well,
camp's done for the duo lanes. Amy a little low, but his Kindred should be just fine as he smites that right away. Hits level 2. Things looking just fine as he moves in onto the Raptor camp. EasyHoon and Wayless will do battle once again. EasyHoon did fall a bit behind in CS in the last time, but was putting on good pressure both in his lane and by moving between the side lanes here on the Lulu. Wayless should struggle a bit early on as the Kassadin. Got that Dark Seal to supplement those biscuits, and he is going to need them.
Yeah, pretty much all of LGD's lanes are really going to struggle early, save for maybe Marn. Ezreal, Alistar, they lose so much power until Alistar has his combo available to him, whether that be level 2 or level 3, depending on when he takes his E. Again, Ali was tapped in 6.6. The Triumphant Roar went from 50% to, I believe, 35% on its heal, which I actually didn't touch his Keystone Mastery. Is he running Windspeaker's Blessing, or did he opt for the Stone?
Oh, I'm not sure. We'll try and find out in a second. I imagine we'll get an indicator once we check in with the lane. Dandy, though, busy clearing out camps here. Very healthy on this blue. He's going to smite it down. One more auto should be able to take it out, and he is going to go ahead and pick that one up. We'll see if he does have a visit into this bottom lane. Like you said, it has been his MO in recent weeks of Vici games, or really most of their season. But it looks like Len's a little too pushed. Vici, in fact, playing very forward right now.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Because Ezreal and Alistar are so weak in the lane phase, it actually doesn't open up a lot of space for Dandy to gank them. looks like he's just going to go back to power farming, but I'm really curious how this is going to impact Vici's typical MO.
Maybe have to pick a better spot here as POL does take some damage trying to investigate the Vici Ward squad. Looks like it is Bond of Stone, by the way, because I can see Endless with the buff on him.
So I was actually really curious about this with the Alistar changes.
Never mind.
Oh.
Got the wrong spot. We'll figure it out.
I was ready.
Well, it's an easy hint. I'm so sorry. Going to keep farming up. Well, it's looking good, though. Actually keeping up nicely.
We can talk about the point anyway. So I was actually really curious if that meant that more Alistars were going to be taking Bond of Stone to synergize with their ultimate, make themselves a little bit more beefier, as opposed to the Windspeaker's Blessing due to the changes to Triumphant Roar, or the nerfs to Triumphant Roar. I think it's kind of been 50-50. Obviously, Alistar has one of the only AoE heals in the game, which is why Windspeaker's Blessing works so well with his E. Gives you a bunch of free gold, and we even saw champions, or not champions, players like Mata maxing Triumphant Roar first to make the most out of that lowered cooldown. But slowly but surely, right, it's like tap the cooldown, nerf that a little bit more, tap the healing.
Well, you know, people like interacting in their lanes.
Just taking inches off.
Again, not hurt too much, but certainly some adjustments. As Imp actually now playing a bit more forward. Somehow found a CS lead here on the bottom side. Very impressive. Now that they've gotten a few more levels, I suppose, although Endless and Caveman do have a wave to clear here.
And look at the respect from PYL. As soon as Imp pressures forward, he doesn't have a ward. He just walks into the river to make sure Dandy, hello?
Oh, he's not there. Okay, good. Dandy is in the area, though, taking that Gromp out. So this is a prime opportunity, perhaps, for Dandy to once again address the bottom lane. Looks like in general, though, lanes are looking pretty good. Nice and even in the early farm stages of the lanes.
We also had a very defensive pink ward come out of Amy's first buy right there. Placed it so Dandy can't get behind them. So if he comes down, there should be enough safety and enough distance with the arcane shift as well as the headbutt should Dandy gank through the typical river path. So LGD, we wondered what their adjustment was going to be from that early pressure on bottom lane. Looks like it's going to be very cautious.
Yep, definitely a slower start to the laning phase this time around. Whalers level 5, playing back a bit, does get that minion there with his Q, but as you can see, respecting the power of Easyhoon, especially with that Thunderlords. But Kassadin, like most Kassadin lanes, things will get better as the lane goes on. Just has to wait for levels and items, and you can see he's gone back already. Got himself a Ruby Crystal. Should be going Rod of Ages first, if the tradition holds. As teleport topside, Marin going to TP back to lane with a Catalyst. Make sure he doesn't miss a beat there on the farm.
Yep, has that initial advantage. Dandy does find the pink ward.
Ooh, good pressure here from Whalers, still getting straightened onto Easyhoon. But the ulti's there for Lulu, so she's never quite as low as you suspect. But with the ultimate now skilled up for Kassadin, can start to get a bit more aggressive.
But the big thing is because they see that Dandy is on the bottom side of the map and they know that Amy is top side, it forces Whalus and Imp and PYL to completely give up every single trade.
First gank's going to come out here, though. Dandy looking mid, but Amy's actually towards the top. This will be a dive. Marin's going to line it up again. Ulti's ready there for Lung, but he's going to get snared into the wall. Not quite enough there. Marin taking the tower. Kindred, an easy first blood.
It's just too easy with Maokai. This is why he's been so popular for so long. There was an attempted response from Dandy in the mid lane, but you're trying to gank the post-level 6 Kassadin, so good luck.
Yep, does still have flash as well, so no dice there on that one. Whalers will be safe for quite a little while. This is Amy with another successful first blood, and thankfully this time, 2 people didn't teleport to his lane.
Which is why it's always so crucial to gank the TP lane first.
See Long, though, does TP back to lane, so he's not going to miss too much. Just a bit of extra gold for Marin. He goes back for a Ruby Crystal after that assist that Amy was very lovingly donated over. Bottom side, still looking like a farm town, though, because it's just some Doran's Blades. But it seems like no one's interested in too much action here. Imp more than happy to let things scale. And Endless and Caveman always playing relatively safe. They like pushing up, getting their farm, but they tend not to play too aggressively without Dandy behind them.
But you also have to think, typically in an Ezreal lane, he shouldn't be even on CS, especially against the likes of Braum and Lucian. So I'm actually going to give this, despite the fact that you're correct.
Oh, Easyhoon looking for it. Ignite is down. Whalers is going to die. Very well played by the Hoon.
The 1v1. Delicious. That tasted purple.
Certainly did. Easyhoon's going to take it. Dandy now up towards that top side, and all of a sudden we looked for early action on either side of the map, and it's Easyhoon on his own this time. Let's able to get it done. Is Caveman also here? Hello. Not sure what he was there for.
He made his, oh. Yeah, he just walked there. I was going to say he made it his initial back, so he probably has a sight stone and he's warding. No. He just made his initial back and now has picked up his sight stone.
Wandering back for some pressure, just in case Easyhoon didn't have it. He says, don't worry, mate.
Well, Easyhoon has Ignite. He's probably thinking, I've got the kill pressure. And Caveman's like, I want the assist.
Not today. Just going to wander back down bottom side as Culling is going to get burnt here. Endless wants to clear this wave out. Does keep it at a pretty good spot. Imp, though, firing back, but Endless going to have a bit of a lead. Able to fire back. Pelio just can't get in. Still Doran's Blade battles, though. Caveman does return, but everything's okay.
I definitely think PYL could have gotten in. Just didn't. But that's fine. Again, Imp, no harm, no foul, 78 to 74. I'm still going to give that lane to LGD because Ezreal shouldn't be even with Lucian Braum. So LGD's bot lane doing a good job, playing much more cautious, not exposing themselves.
And now the squad's heads top side. There is a ward, though. So LGD going to get spotted as Easyhoon continuing with the good pressure there in mid lane. Actually, 20 CS up, plus that kill has almost netted Easyhoon that Rod of Ages, and we're not even 10 minutes into this game. It is still very close in gold. In fact, Vici up not ahead at all. The gold is even. But Dandy doing some counter jungling. You can see where some of the momentum might lie. Easyhoon applying a lot of pressure right now. So it doesn't reflect in the gold yet, but it could down the line.
And the pressure is primarily all through this bottom side of the jungle. So yes, LGD have control in terms of where Marn is, but unless he utilizes that TP off of cooldown elsewhere on the map, things could still spiral out of control for LGD.
Certainly could. But Vici now going to visit bottom side. Dandy going to make his way down and at least take the Scuttle Crab. It seems like bottom lane's playing chicken right now because nobody wants to go back.
Yeah, but look at Marn right now. He's looking for the gank on Easyhoon.
Not bad, but Easyhoon with the ulti. No flash available, but Whimsy's out of the way. Good vision. He's going to get Easyhoon off to the safe side. Did play towards Dandy as well. And Marin, not a bad attempt, but absolutely nothing there for him in mid lane.
But LGD have the right idea. Okay, Marin's ahead. He needs to unlock himself from the lane. It's no longer the split push Gnar. It's the flanking Maokai. Got to help your little buddies out.
So much pressure in this mid lane, though. Dandy might even walk in here and just try and take some tower damage. Amy's going to watch them take the Raptor. And Dandy just going to take that one away. They are going to waddle down bottom lane here. LGD have to know they're getting ganked.
They have to give this up. There's no way that Wayless, he's got TP, so he doesn't have to walk down. This could just be a double TP. They're going back to heal.
Yeah, LGD does TP back in for it. That will protect it. A cancel has to be forced there. That was Marin that looked to come in. But Vici just walked down and get a free summoner. And no one is still back here in this bottom lane.
No, really well played from Vici. They at least got one TP out of that so they can continue, kind of rinse, wash, and repeat. We did see the back coming out from Wayless, so he was probably prepping his teleport as well, just making sure that he was full health when he decided to go in.
Looks like he's also going for Rod of Ages, so have pretty similar builds here. Easyhoon going to have an edge as far as the timing goes because he is ahead in CS and has that kill. But it looks like, again, Vici happy to play up in their lanes. Just make sure Dandy has space to maneuver. Even Long, not looking too bad on CS. Is LGD are going to take the Rift Herald. First one of this particular game. They did get the first one last time. I gave it to Marin for a bit of extra pushing pressure. And he's going to get it again, but looks like he does have to recall. Although he's not interested just yet. As Dandy going to take away that Gromp. Keep getting himself further and further ahead. It's a bit of a slower one this time around, but it does feel like Vici are at least in control.
So the thing about the bot lanes not backing for so long is this actually completely bypasses when Ezreal is weak. It'll delay your tier, obviously, which then delays how quickly you can stack up the tier to that big mid-game power spike. But if you come back into lane with a tier, a pickaxe, or a tier and a sheen, you're no longer that weak lane phase Ezreal that people expect you to be. So if this lane phase after the initial back continues, Imp's probably going to look in a pretty good position to continue to bully Endless despite its Lucian versus Ezreal.
Really interested to see what these first packs are because this is a long time farming it out. In fact, Vici even stay for an extra wave and LGD are finally pulling that. Nope, Imp is greedy. They have a way pushed in. They have to keep farming. Imp's going to have a mountain of gold to spam, but Endless is finally going to go back and spend some of his.
He could also have a cannon wave coming in, and that would be the best time to back, obviously, because you lose the least.
You can see Lung actually does get back in time to prevent Marin from taking that tower, but great damage done for Marin, and you can see quick Distortion Brush here. Does have the Merc Treads, but went straight for the upgrade before, like anything else, really.
This is classic LGD, the Distortion Rush for Marin. This is a staple from him. I was supposed to go and check the stat of how many times LGD win when Marin does this. I will do it.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
At least from recent games. As Lung and Marin continue to butt heads there.
Look at that. He came back with an Iceborne Gauntlet and a tier. That is not a weak Ezreal.
No, not at all. I mean, Essence Reaver completed for Endless, so things could get crazy in the bottom lane quickly. But, yeah, Imp has just farmed it out. and bypass pretty much all of that early down point.
Yeah, and he's definitely a big team player right now. Obviously, has the ability to augment team fights with that massive slow.
Me and Wayless in mid lane though. Dandy does pop his head in. Vici continuing to hold bottom side control. Dragon is up, but don't really want to go in for it. Red buff up also. Dandy just forcing Amy off his bus right now. Might even have a smite battle. Amy wants it. PWL's here as well. TP in for LGD. Dandy actually low on the other side, but the red buff is going to go over. He ulties it to get it, and Easyhoon's going to get him out with the wild grab, but PWL goes in for the play. Ulti from Ezreal isn't quite going to make it. Endless getting chased down, and Im's going to take him out on the other side. Caveman, sorry, is going to go in, but Myron's able to dive in with a twisted advance and lock up Caveman. Im's going to get a double kill for it. And LGD trade 2 for 1.
Welcome back to the LPL LGD. It's been a minute. Imp takes the Ezreal. We have a very extended lane phase, but we talk about this because it lasted so long. This bypasses Ezreal's weak phase that people like to talk about. Comes back with an Iceborne Gauntlet, 1v1s Endless on the back of that fight, and picks up a double kill.
Yeah, just Imp things, but looking great here as we are going to watch how this unfolded.
Big thing to watch is also PYL. I think he, of course, the camera guy wants to show the Endless 1v1. Just gets picked out. Aww. That's so disappointing with the failed flash. But PYL's flash over the wall right there to lock up a majority of Vici's line, and then just Maokai.
Yep, and that's kind of been the story of these 2 games so far, it feels like. Just Maokai.
Just Maokai.
Pretty good champion, as it turns
Real
out.
good champion.
Especially when you want to fight all the time. The goal, though, is quite even, so we'll just sort of shuffle the power points back around. Imp 2-0-0 has a pickaxe now in the inventory. Looking for a pretty quick mana mune, and that will help charge the tier a bit faster. Blue buffs also donated over as Rod of Ages is up for both of the mid laners. And top lane's our final place to check in with. Myron going for an awful lot of tank items right now.
Gold much closer this time around. LGD with only a slight lead due to their kills. But this is never where you want to be against a star-studded roster like this. Again, 6 for 6 items. LGD will take that fight every time and have proven again and again in the LPL regular season that they will win.
Well, Long and Myron are going to do battle, but Danny's going to come up and try and make it a bit less of a fair fight. Long just going to punch him in the back. Grasp the Undying does proc for decent damage, but not sure if diving the Maokai is really where you want to be. And I think Vici decided the same. Myron just going to keep farming away. We'll check back in with Dandy. He's in mid lane, and they're going to clear that Scuttle Crab. And Easyhoon, actually, the only one with a really big lead in any of these lanes, it feels like. He's consistently been great 1v1 versus Endless. He's, what, 25 TS up right now? 20? Maths is hard.
But the problem is that he's not unlocking himself enough from the lane to impact his side lanes in the way that Marn did in the last team fight. So, ex-teammates, one outperforming the other this time around.
So far, at least. 16 minutes in, though. And definitely plenty of time for more action as Long and Myron still fighting. Dandy's here this time, though. He's going to speeding with a Scuttle Crab, and that's a good hook onto Myron. Smoke's screwing down. They're going to try and lock him up for long enough. The ulti's there. Myron doesn't have a creep to go to try and go untargetable. He's going to pop the ulti back up, though. Do they have enough damage? Dandy going to move in. Needs a couple more autos. Sap Magic's good. Dodges out the ulti, but Long just takes him down.
Yeah, cute little play right there to use the Twisted Advance to get underneath the collateral damage, I believe it's called. But unfortunately not enough. In return, though, Amy will pick up the dragon in response.
It might even get a turret as well, so we'll see what trades happen for objectives. Endless and Caveman are there as Easyhoon again going in onto that Kassadin. LGD, though, are going to zone them off this bottom outer. They should be able to take this down. Dragon up for LGD. Could mean an overall winning trade, but PWL locked up onto the tower, actually. Does get the ulti down just in time. But I think that's going to stop their push, and Vici are not done topside. They'll effectively trade a kill and a turret for a dragon at this rate.
Do need to be careful. Vici is putting a lot of members bottom, but LG do disengage.
Yeah, Dandy back here, so LGD kind of have to leave. PWL getting caught under that turret and CC'd. Cost them a lot of pressure and momentum there. In fact, Vici might even counter push here. LGD is going to be forced to stay for another wave.
Big thing is, again, PYL doesn't have his ultimate. So much easier to dive the Alistar in this condition.
Ooh, he's going to spot Wayless again, though. Good damage there from Wayless. Actually chunks him out. But the Abyssal almost done there for Easyhoon. Will make him pretty hard to kill. And Dandy going to go back into the enemy jungle, but doesn't go past that pink ward. Looking back towards mid lane. Caveman actually going to roam in as well. And Vici did not get the top outer either. So actually no turrets taken just yet. Seems like the game will stay pretty much even still.
They did place very deep vision in LGD's jungle, so we'll see how Dandy utilizes that information. Obviously, the jungler who's famous for punishing information that he gets.
Myron, though, this is sneaky. He's going to steal the red buff. says, hey, top lane, this is my domain. Danny's been bottom lane pretty much the whole game. I'm going to get myself a free red. And that's what he does.
See if he gets out on. Yep. Wow.
He's okay.
What a stroll.
It's chill. Yeah, that was very casual. And Danny's like, oh, where'd my buff go? Myron has it.
Just rude. Tower will fall for LGD, so starting to balloon that gold lead slightly. But still looking at Easy Hoon.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah, he's got his 2 items.
2K.
Wish he would just leave that mid lane.
To Wales's credit, he's actually been keeping him interested at least. No teleport for Easy Hoon also makes it more difficult. Did get him a solo kill.
They're collapsing on this.
Yeah, Myron actually wants to get in on the Rift Herald. Harold does a lot of damage. Dandy, I think he should be able to smite it away, but I don't know if he can stay to collect the buff. He goes down, and Myron actually takes it. And now he's just going to keep fighting him. Vici are here, though, but the rest of the squad is going to arrive. Easy Hoon's going to be forced to flash out, and Amy just goes straight forward for it. Wayless in the back of the pit as Myron locks up 2. Endless, PWL actually moves in for a combo, but misses. And Vici are somehow all going to get away as Lung flashes the back of the Baron pit. That was messy.
I mean, that said, Marn does get the Rift Herald buff, so advantage to LGD right there. They're more... This says, we know, we're confident, we're stronger, let's fight them. And this is not where Vici want to be.
No, they've actually, for the first time, I guess, from what we've seen recently, and certainly in the series, even though it is just the second game between the two, Vici did not get off to the same start. And LGD, they played the landing phase a little more reserved, made sure they, just collected their farm. They're solid players, just play safe. They feel confident that when they get to mid to late game, they'll be able to carry things through. And so far, so good here for LGD. They'll take another tower for themselves. And let's take some good damage to the face. And 3k up now for LGD. Starting to get that gold lead working more and more.
And again, LGD's composition is so punishable if it falls behind because you're able to free take towers and siege on them. But Vici just not in gear yet. And
No.
This is kind of the Vici that we were afraid would show its head. I really liked the fast-paced Vici that we had in Game 1. This Vici is a bit more standard to what we saw during the regular LPL season. Bit slower, more controlled, but means bad news against a team who is a superior 5v5 unit.
Certainly can. As Lung and Myron doing battle once more, but that's not too much fun to watch because no one's going to die, I don't think, between Frozen Heart and Spirit Visage. Seems unlikely. Imp, though, going to stay topside. Does have a Vamp Scepter built up now as well, so it looks like Blade of the Ruined King third will be that next item.
And we've really started to open up these CS discrepancies. Imp 214 to 179, likewise 199 to 171. The only bright light for Vici is in Easy Hoon's lane right now. 210 to 180, but that's really expected Lulu versus Kassadin.
Yeah, and he's played it great. Did get that solo kill, but like you said, has not been able to leave and influence other parts of the map. Feels like Vici just don't quite have any momentum just yet. And LGD have found some good spots. They're a very scrappy team. They've been getting scrappy, and it's getting them kills and objectives.
The scary thing is when you're not ahead of the clock as someone like... Okay, so if Long, Easy Hoon, and Dandy are your primary carries that you should rely on, and Long is on Nautilus, Easy Hoon is on Lulu. If you're not ahead of the clock, they can't step into that carry position and carry role, which means it's entirely on Dandy and Endless.
Well, could be trouble here in the bottom side for Vici as Dandy is going to join in that 2v2. Amy locked up by the ulti, but Im's also in the area. PWL is going to make it there first, but Vici are going to start a fight there. PWL gets one pole, but Amy's going to take out Long on the right-hand side. Now, Dandy in trouble as he gets exhausted, and he's going to get slowed up here by the Ezreal. Wayless dives in to try and get a few more kills as Caveman is dead. Imp flashes forward, trying to get another. Easy Hoon's going to get locked down, and LGD, they make it a perfect.
And it just looks too easy. That's a 22-minute ace. Imp was actually fighting that fight on two fronts. Throws a cheeky Mystic shot one direction, throws his ultimate across the majority of Vici the other direction. So just beautifully played from LGD on their cooldowns on all fronts.
And now time for Baron. LGD pretty much just flip it straight back. Things looking so simple for them. They had a very good mid-game. Able to transition well to team fighting, and Vici just cannot hang when they're not ahead, as the ulti is burnt by Kindred to heal everyone up. Baron, though, is going to go down. Dandy not anywhere near to try and steal it. And LGD, all of a sudden, are crazy far ahead in this game. 8k up.
And this is why a lot of teams really prioritize Kindred. It's her ability to look for that Baron. But check out Imp in this team fight. So he arcane shifts forward. He's going to show, he throws his ultimate across 4 members of Vici, throws the cheeky Mystic shot over to the right, and then just continues pushing forward into the rest of this fight. Amy comes across the side, finds this beautiful flank. And it's too easy. I mean, Amy even has to flash for it because he's like, no, guys, don't kill them before I get there. I want the assist.
Well, to get them, is LGD got a clean and a Baron, and all of a sudden, the team with pretty much all the gold and all the momentum seems like they have reset after a pretty poor game 1. And now Vici, who did not find the early lead that could find in that first game.
You had such a setup. They didn't find the early lead that they were looking for.
Look. Mid tower goes down. That's the third, actually. The fact that the gold lead's already this high and LGD still have plenty of turrets to take and a Baron buff is even more worrying for Vici.
And there were so many options because LGD's comp is so punishable if they ever fall behind. But VG are just not that proactive team, which is why stylistically we're saying LGD are perfect for them, because VG just have to be reactive. LGD will run into you.
Well, to LGD's credit, they've actually played a lot more calmly this game around.
Yep, and it came down to the fact that they didn't pick big winning lane matchups. Like, the fact that they had Alistar and Ezreal seems weird to say that that's the winning factor against Lucian and Braum, but because it forced them to stay so far back in the lane and respect, it didn't give Dandy space to make the plays that VG usually rely on.
And you can see Imp is massive. 4-0-3 with 3 items already at 24 minutes in. They'll take a tier 2 in the top half of the map as Wayless TP's into top. Going to try and cut off Lung here, who wants to take this turret. Wayless going to move in for the damage as Marin's just behind him. Lung, he knows he has to take the tower. Needs a few more autos. I think he might be able to get it with the help of the creep wave. He does, but Marin's going to swoop in and lock him up with a twisted advance, and it's just inevitable here for the Nautilus. He does have the flash, but he can't get away. Wayless going to take him out as Danny tries to jump in onto Amy, but Kindred going to dance away with that Q.
They know that there were 2 people top lane, so they're trying to find the numbers discrepancy. Here comes the counter TP.
And now it's Marin. Oh, PYL going to get the engagement onto Caveman. He's just going to get shredded down. Imp will get his 5th kill of the game. Now Endless going to get chased. Marin just looking for another one to lock down. He's going to flash forward. He wants to take out Endless, but the Wild Growth going to keep the Lucian alive. Marin maybe a little too far forward, but never mind. Lamb's Respite there as Marin takes him out, and LGD kites straight back around the tower.
This is the playoff LGD that we were looking for, and it's nice to see them show up in Game 2. So we can take this to Game 4, but they're not done.
Another twisted advance. Danny going to go down to that one. And that's another race for LGD. And this time they'll break the inhib turrets and take down some inhibs. Vici sent reeling after LGD rally.
24-minute first game. This could be a possible 26-minute second game. They've got a massive creep wave behind them, as well as Kindred and Ezreal.
And Baron buff. They're not done. PWL gets locked up, but they're going to try and take out this turret. This person next to the turret is dead. As Vici are trying to defend, but Lung just can't stand there. He's going to get locked up forever. He's trying to hook around and CC some people, but Amy is able to take him out. LGD a little too low on their health bars to keep going, but they did monstrous damage there.
Vici do live to fight another day, however, so the mid inhibitor, we talk about this all the time, it's not the worst inhib to lose. It effectively just opens up a free farm lane. It's about what LGD can do with that pressure point.
Well, I don't think LGD are really slowing down. Like you mentioned, they tend not to slow too much, especially when ahead. Did play a little bit more relaxed in the start of this game, but trusted in their strong laning 2v2. Still can't believe that Imp got 115 CS before first back. Managed to skip a lot of the problems Ezreal has early, but you can see now LGD played up for about 20 minutes, picked some fights, won them, and here we are.
I feel like every time LGD go into the playoffs, their jungler gets some sort of buff. Chwin did it last year, and Amy is now sitting 5-1-5, just casually.
I mean, Daddy destroyed him for an MVP performance in Game 1, so Amy is firing back here most certainly. Wayless also getting himself the blue buff. 2 scaling carries and a whole lot of farming. And this is where we are. LGD, very impressive game number 2.
I like how it's 2 scaling carries, but it's still only 27 minutes in the game.
Hey, man, they're scaling quickly with the amount of gold they've been able to pick up. I almost feel like Maokai is starting to become the talk of this series, but we'll have to see if we get to our next game here. At this point, LGD, it seems that they are going to close out, but Vici, if they can pull something out of their hat, they will actually get themselves to the next round of playoffs. So don't forget, there is a lot to play for here for Vici,
and they
despite how desperate this game might look.
Have to reverse sweep. Vici are set up in kind of game, set, match, so no more mistakes available for LGD, although this game looks much stronger. I want to quickly kind of touch on Maokai. You know, why did Maokai come back into the meta? We hadn't seen him for so long.
Leaves.
He never leaves. Oh, I get it, because he's a tree.
There you go. So it's hanging around.
I'm actually just tilted off my screen now. They're going to dive a tower. We can talk about Maokai. I'm sure he's going to be contested all throughout the series.
Ooh, problems here for him perhaps. Oh, very dead.
Bip.
Good CC chain. Amy now forced to flash out. Vici actually are going to fight back here. Marin going to get locked up by the Braum ultimate. He's going to make it back in there and try and turn things around. Amy getting exhausted, but the damage is still there, and they just cannot cut down this tree. Dandy getting low on the front lines, but Vici still playing forward for it. Amy locked up on the other side. He's going to proc that Zerx and did save the lands for a spite. Marin is still not dead, by the way, as Wayless takes out Endless, and I think Wayless can clean up here. A kill there for Easy Hoon onto Amy, but it's too little too late. LGD will lose Imp, but I don't know it's enough. It actually is, as Wayless goes down after the double. This fight lasts forever, but PWL does die, and Vici 10k behind, get an ace. And now we have a pause.
Guys,
LGD are like, what happened? How did this happen?
Why is my screen gray? Let's just kind of re-examine that fight. First and foremost, Imp was deleted before the fight even began, so it was technically a 4v5. Oh, wait, it was a 3v5 because Wayless was top, pushing in creeps. So that massive, 45-minute team fight that just happened on your screen, that was 3v5. And I actually think that LGD could have pulled that out if Wayless didn't rift walk straight into a dredge line.
Did he have he must not have had teleport, right? There's no way
he walked.
You take that long. Yeah, he did. Hopped all his way down there, and they almost still won that team fight. Marin literally looked unkillable in that situation.
That's ridiculous. That was a 3v5.
Well, kind of a fun place to pause, I guess. But Vici, we said it. They do want to fight this. It's worth it if they can take this game somehow. And they needed a window to be opened. LGD left, I think, a door open, honestly. Wall got smashed down as a result.
No, as Spawn likes to say, they left the bathroom window open, and there's a space you can get in there, but you're falling in the toilet, you're sliding on the sink. It's going to be messy, but we're in the house.
Well, I'm not sure what can happen after this, but Vici, they do pick up here and show that they can win a team fight if the circumstances line up correctly. The worry is that they are still very far behind in this game, so I'm not sure they'll get another opportunity that looks quite as good and goes quite as well. I think the other thing, though, is even if they even this game back up, can they take LGD 5v5, either comp-based or skill-based? Because it does feel like LGD are just good in the late game as well.
Comp-based, again, we talked about this over and over again. LGD's composition has such a strong weakness. You can very clearly, okay, if I ever get ahead and if I'm ever pushing on you, there's nothing you can do to stop me. You have no control of the creep wave. You've got Ezreal, you have Kassadin. I mean, the best you've got is Kindred and Maokai throwing saplings and just dancing around to clear out creep waves. So there was definitely a big hole and an opportunity for Vici, but they weren't proactive in their initial early game that they typically were in game one, which gave them that big, strong snowball.
And I think it's one of those things where when you win a team fight, you want to take something after it. I think with the position they're in, Vici just had to take the defensive team fight that was very kindly offered to them by LGD. And I'm not sure, even with double AD carry, they'll get too much off this as far as objectives go. So an interesting point in the game to stop for sure. Just a reminder, we are in a pause. But LGD, that's a worrying slip-up, I will say. They do have a very hard run back into this series. It all starts here. They do have to win every game from this point, but whew. It was going so well, and the fact that there was a very silly moment, that's really a team fight they shouldn't have lost, and 3v5 they almost still won. That's a worry for LGD, because you already said it, they cannot afford mistakes. Yeah,
but at the same time, I mean, that's how far ahead they are.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're right, the fact that LGD, no more mistakes. This is your last chance. They have to reverse sweep. They cannot afford to lose another game again. Vici starting a game up in the series due to superior seeding. It's not a graphic error when you see that Snake and Invictus Gaming have a very similar thing. This is the only seeding that it happens. It's not like you'll see Team WE and EDG also have 2 games up. Woo, no, that doesn't happen. It's totally fine after this. But it's a slanted gauntlet run. And reminder that if LGD want to find themselves in the finals, or if Snake want to find themselves in the finals, they have to play 20 best-of-5s, or to win the finals.
Yeah. Have to play a bunch of games. Yeah. It's 3 BO3s to get there and then 1 more to play it. So I think 4 total best-of-5s. Huge mountain to climb here. And LGD, they've honestly given themselves the hardest route possible. We are going to pop ourselves back into the game. And Vici's base is in ruins.
Yeah. Okay, so again, during that big, crazy 3v5, the reason why it was a 3v5 is Wayless was just like, hey, guess what? I don't have a Lich Bane, but I'm still a split-pushing Kassadin. And that's what he did.
Well, it's kind of funny to see Vici's base getting flooded by minions when 4 members of LGD are dead. But that's where we are, so we do pop back from our pause. And like we said, it wasn't looking good for Vici. They do get a fight that kind of keeps him in the game for now, but that is an awfully vulnerable-looking Nexus.
Yeah, the disaster here is the fact that Baron is going to be spawning. There's a glare of 15 seconds. So That's obviously going to be the next big contested point on the map. And if Vici can manipulate or clear their map fast enough, they may have a window of opportunity to walk out and contest for it. But LGD just need to be patient.
Yeah, 2 inhibs down for Vici means they've got a lot of problems when it comes to super minions. Endless, though, he's going to take out that red buff. So something there. As you do see the major buffs are respawning. Vici are actually in the area to potentially fight here.
It's because they have, again, that window of opportunity where the creeps are pushed out, so they're allowed to leave their base right now.
Not going to last too much longer, though. EasyHoon actually has to go in. PYL locked up, but Lung is going to eat damage. As a result, Imp is already chunking him out, and he does not have a Last Whisper yet. To be fair, Lung doesn't have that much armor. I guess Sunfire Deadman's Plate's not bad. But that is an impressive amount of damage from this Ezreal, who's almost at 4 items. Fight going to break out, though. PYL in the thick of it. EasyHoon actually wild growths himself and moves in, but Wayless just wants to assassinate someone. Endless has absolutely no chance there as Imp is able to take him down. And LGD just too far ahead, going to make this one look real easy. Long, he gets the right target, but the GA for Wayless brings him back to life. And LGD going to clean up one final team fight by the looks of things.
And this will be the game for LGD. They have a massive creep wave as the teleport trigger is pulled, and that is an open Nexus.
Yep. Marin just going to punch it in the face, and that should go down with a bit of extra help from the minions. Vici, they did what they had to do. They pretty much needed to fight around the Baron while they had the window. But LGD going to play a little more calmly, but rocket ahead there in the mid-game, and they will force it to another game. 2-1 now the score as LGD fight back.
And this is the thing. We've had 2 very quick games, back-to-back 26-minute win from Vici in Game 1. I believe, this was 27?
Yep.
In Game 2 from LGD, so it looks like we're going to continue to have a very bloody and explosive series.
Always fun to see, but Vici just felt like nothing got going for them in that game, and the comp felt very similar. EasyHoon back on the Lulu, Dandy back on the Graves. It's just the start was not as good. Like LGD clearly corrected their error from Game 1. No big TPs, Lung didn't get massively snowballed. LGD pick up a very clean-looking win, and we've seen it when this team is just performing. And they clearly were ahead in this game. But even when this team's just looking good, everything fires, and they just look amazing. EasyHoon, though, had a good effort. Did solo kill Wayless here, but didn't really stop the rest of the team.
Yeah, because nothing else got going. And the fact is that EasyHoon was ahead, but he wasn't translating that power anywhere else on the map. And the thing is why Lissandra works so well for Vici, I believe they still have something close to 100% win rate on the champion, is because it forces him to teleport and to find these crazy side plays.
Well, Lulu, a good laner, but maybe not as much of a playmaker as LGD's team fight was just crazy here. Every fight felt like they cleaned up, and this was a great teleport by Marin to get things started.
I mean, we say this all the time about Vici, is that they need some sort of gold lead. Kind of the first 0 to 15 minute mark, they need to accumulate as much gold as possible to compensate for their lackluster 5v5. And especially against the likes of LGD, who are one of the best 5v5 teams in the LPL, it's not enough. You have to race to that point. You need the 10k gold deficit if you're going to come out on top.
And we saw that in Game 1. They were able to do absolutely massive work with their lead and it'll snowball things ahead. LGD, though, I'm still so impressed they played calm. They just honestly farmed for 10 minutes. And then everything was okay. They're like, you know what? If we're even when we go to fight you with our decent mid-game champions, we should win a 5v5. It felt like they just adjusted their plan a little bit. And Vici were like, oh, you don't want to fight us anymore? I don't know what to do now. Because that was my whole game plan.
No, you're absolutely completely right. And this kind of just goes back to the talent that LGD's roster has. I mean, you've got Marn, Wayless, Imp, and PYL sitting in those lanes. Pound for pound, they're probably, all of them are probably at least top 5 in every single position, probably top 3 in every single position in the LPL. It's just, we can win our lanes naturally, so why even try to the risk versus reward if something can go wrong?
Well, 2 different strategies, 2 different games, and now a split after as the teams will go 1-1 in record. Don't go too far away though. Vici still looking for that match point and push towards playoffs. LGD, how good is the playoff buff? We're going to find out soon.